their tire as well. The question I would ask, if shiny yellow lines can be painted on the pavement, can not dull dark ones be painted too to cover up the extras? Rumor has it, it will be done. Ray Summers at large.
Especially after that report, it will be done. How embarrassing.
We have a parking lot just like that outside. Coming up at 6 tonight, how some grass seed farmers are getting around field burning rules.
Stay with us. Dan Rather is next.
See you at 6.
Iraq says it will release women and children hostages. Saddam Hussein offers to debate President Bush and Margaret Thatcher. Kuwait becomes Iraq's newest province. The name of the capital city changed.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting tonight from Baghdad, Iraq. Good evening. More maneuvering and tension today. An American hostage died. No details are clear. The Iraqis say they believe he passed away of a heart attack. And Saddam Hussein has sent another strong message that he now considers Kuwait part of Iraq and that he will never, underscore the word, give it up. It's non-negotiable. But the late big surprise of the night, an announcement by the Iraqi government that all women and children hostages will be released as early as tomorrow. It came after another televised Saddam meeting with hostages, including women and children.
We have one little lady with a birthday today who has a birthday. Happy birthday, Rachel.
It began with birthday greetings to one child, and much of it revolved around the plight of children.
In a war situation, the same way as Iraq would lose its sons, its women, and its children, of course, the aggressive parties, the aggressive countries would also lose their own men and their women and children.
This day, he would take questions from parents, and they were, especially under the circumstances, tough.
You claim to be a humanitarian in search of a peaceful solution to this crisis. Perhaps the gesture of sincerity be the release of some of our women and children, or all of our women and children.
No one knows whether it was these pleas that changed Saddam's mind, but this morning, this was the last thing anyone expected.
Watching the performance of Saddam Hussein, this clearly is no longer a man on a roll. This clearly is no longer a man who feels ascendant. And this is a man who is looking for a way out.
This is becoming a television negotiation. Brinksmanship by television. Saddam tonight proposed direct negotiations and a televised debate between what he called his opponents.
Bush with Thatcher. I'm prepared now, ready and prepared for direct talk and dialogue with Mr. Bush and with Mrs. Thatcher. Let us have the debate between me and them on television for the whole world to see.
CBS News correspondent Mark Phillips has been watching events unfold at the State Department.
The Iraqi announcement shortly after Saddam Hussein's TV appearance today that women and children hostages would be released has been greeted with hope and skepticism in Washington. The State Department says it's been misled by the Iraqis before. The U.S. Charge d'Affaires in Baghdad is trying to get confirmation of the offer, but no word has come through official channels.
There he is! It's coming!
Western leaders may continue to condemn Saddam Hussein's TV visits with his prisoners as cynical propaganda, but for the relatives of those hostages, they are at least a chance to see that their loved ones are well. Kevin Basner's sisters were watching when he appeared today.
This is the first time they showed an American talking. And yes, it was wonderful to see him.
He looks good.
While there may be no shooting war between the U.S. and Iraq, there are full broadsides in the propaganda war.
We've all now, through his bizarre and warped sense of public relations, seen small children, innocent teenagers, innocent women and men sitting there being used on his TV screens.
Still, the Iraqi propaganda is having an effect. For Raul Mirakaputi, whose wife and daughter are among those trapped in Iraq, the prospect of having them back is enough for now.
I don't have any idea what I'm going to say. I probably will cry first and then hug them.
Relatives of hostages may be taking heart, and there was a reunion late today as the dependents from the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait finally made it home. But a peaceful settlement to the standoff still seems remote.
I worked hard. I was left in Kuwait and Baghdad with all our husbands, members of our family.
Some relatives of those held in Kuwait got bad news today. The Iraqis say one of the Americans they were holding in Basra has died. They say of a heart attack. The U.S. says stress may have been a factor and has demanded the return of the body for positive identification. While the Iraqis have not been blamed directly for the man's death, it has done nothing to improve the atmosphere for negotiations. Mark Phillips, CBS News, the State Department.
President Bush returned to Washington today from his vacation in Maine to brief members of Congress. Wyatt Andrews is at the White House.
The president, who spent 3 weeks getting the world behind his Gulf policy, today interrupted his vacation to ask for the support of Congress.
Let no one at home doubt that my commitment to work with the Congress, and let no one abroad doubt our national unity or our staying power.
Staying power is the one area where the president feels vulnerable, because the president now plans to wait for the trade sanctions to hurt Saddam Hussein. He's not just asking Congress for unity during crisis, he is asking for patience.
Where do we want to go? Well, our intention, and indeed the intention of almost every country in the world, is to persuade Iraq to withdraw.
Mr. Bush enjoys overwhelming support for now, but low-key sniping at his policies has begun. One question from congressional leaders out in the region today was, why doesn't the U.S. have more help?
And now that we have that deterrent force in place, I think we need to get more Arab forces on the ground.
The crisis also gives the Democrats ammunition against the Pentagon. Who needs Star Wars, they now ask, when the Pentagon is short airplanes?
Whether or not we need these exotic weapon systems, or do we need to invest in airlift capacity so we wouldn't have to call up the reserves?
But the crisis may also have an upside. Its impact on the deficit may shock the politicians toward a budget deal.
We were already hovering on a recession. The economy needs some good news.
Mr. Bush, on purpose today, did not respond to the promise that some of the hostages might be released. With 70 Americans now missing and presumed held as human shields, the president was reported in no mood to congratulate Saddam for anything. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, the White House.
U.S. military men emphasize that their build-up in and around the Gulf is continuing. Our Pentagon correspondent David Martin has details.
The Army breathed a little easier today when the first of its M1 tanks rolled off the ship in Saudi Arabia. But the Pentagon released a new cost estimate for Operation Desert Shield that's enough to take your breath away. $2.5 billion through September 30th. That works out to about $40 million a day, more than double the original estimate, due mainly to higher oil prices and the call-up of nearly 50,000 reserves.
The third thing is a general increase in the operating tempo. Flying time, steaming hours, number of ships on station, length of time on station. Those things have generally been higher than were originally estimated.
Of course, Operation Desert Shield will not end on September 30th. Some of the units now moving toward port in the U.S. will not even get to Saudi Arabia until October. Exactly how many go still depends on what the Iraqis do. The Pentagon estimate of Iraqi troops in Kuwait and southern Iraq now stands at 265,000, up 70,000 from just a week ago.
There's been a general trend over the past several days of these forces increasing. 1,500 tanks, 1,200 other armored vehicles, and 800 artillery pieces.
It took the U.S. 3 weeks to get about 150 of these M1 tanks into Saudi Arabia. They're too big and too heavy to be flown in, but as far as the Army's concerned, you can't do battle against Iraq without them.
In order to encounter a large armor force, you have to have an armor force yourself, equipped with weapons like the M1.
Both U.S. and Iraqi forces appear to be taking up defensive positions, although Pentagon officials warn that Iraq could still take the offensive on very short notice. Now that top-of-the-line American battle tanks are starting to arrive, the U.S. could also go on the offensive. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
CBS News correspondent Bob Simon today got a chance to make the first visit to the first American battleship to enter the Gulf. Here's his report.
The battleship Wisconsin, built to sink Hirohito, steamed around the Persian Gulf today, ready to take on Saddam Hussein. It was the maiden voyage of an old warrior, recommissioned after 30 years in mothballs. There are faster, sleeker, and more fashionable ships in the fleet today, but something about a battleship makes people pay attention.
When we steam around, come on your doorstep, you answer the door.
It might have something to do with the guns. Designed and built in the 1930s, they're still the most powerful guns in the world today. They send shells the size of Volkswagens 23 miles to dig holes the size of football fields. The Navy's not authorized any test firing yet. The men practice with their small guns. R2-D2 opens fire. There are tomahawks and harpoons on board today, missiles unheard of when the Wisconsin sailed to Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and Korea. But the main defense system has been here from the start, a hull 16 and a half inches thick.
We have so much protection on board, and then we have a couple other ships out here along with us. We feel real safe out here.
Either salute it or paint it, the captain says. Many of the men on board extended their time in the Navy just to come on this trip.
I re-enlisted just for this ship. Well, my home state's the state of Wisconsin, and I thought, why not serve on her ship?
Meanwhile, the last major component of the U.S. arsenal was arriving by sea. If the Wisconsin has the thickest skin of any vessel afloat, the M1 Abrams tank has armor which no Iraqi shell can penetrate. The M1 is powerful and sophisticated, and it gets 2 gallons to the mile. In this war over fuel, it is the biggest guzzler of them all. Like so many of the American weapons sailing in now, it has never been tested in battle.
We succeed out there, and there's no doubt in my mind that we'll succeed here. We have to.
They never made tanks like this before. They don't make anything like this anymore. Bob Simon, CBS News, on board the battleship Wisconsin.
The CBS Evening News from Baghdad, Iraq. We'll continue in a moment, so stay here with us.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
This is the Discover card, and this is $100 million. That's the cashback bonus earned by card members. But if you don't use this, you don't get any of this. It pays to Discover.
Do yourself proud, make you look beautiful, do it for yourself with Minwax and Wood.
Get beautiful color with Minwax Wood Finish and lasting protection with Minwax Polyurethane.
So do yourself proud with Minwax and Wood.
A kiss? Oh, not right now.
You really don't want to kiss me.
Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Give me a minute, honey. Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Get Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Didn't I hear something about a kiss?
Right here. Right now.
Kiss. It is time for a kiss. Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning.
Hey, you. Put that kiss right here.
Refugees from Kuwait and Iraq continue to swamp Jordan. Peter Van Sant has been watching that.
Embargo-running trucks rolled into Iraq from Jordan today, keeping open the last major supply line to Saddam Hussein. We saw trucks carrying steel beams, paint, cotton, eggs, pipe, and tires.
Tires. Your tires, where are you going?
Baghdad.
To Baghdad.
Yeah.
There were many other trucks carrying goods we couldn't identify. When we were spotted by military officials at this checkpoint, they ordered us away. Jordan has been slow to impose economic sanctions against its powerful neighbor because most Jordanians support Saddam Hussein, and Iraq is Jordan's #1 trading partner. Jordan and Iraq are one country, this driver says, and we can't stop helping them. There is a new cost for Jordan's continuing trade with Saddam Hussein. Some foreign suppliers are holding back deliveries to Jordan out of fear those goods could end up in Iraq. Yusuf Nader is Jordan's main sugar importer.
He says his new orders are being turned down.
I got the answer that we simply don't want to sell to Jordan. I checked with other agents and other suppliers, and I found that they received the same answer from their principals.
At this company, which sells pharmaceutical products to Iraq, officials say their supplies are dwindling.
If we have no raw materials, we have to close down, and if we have no money, no work to do, what do you expect to do with our employees?
The world's embargo against Iraq is now reaching into Jordan, whose own shortages may force it to do what the world is demanding, to cut off trade with Iraq. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, on the Iraqi-Jordanian border.
Although the Kuwaiti royal family and the Kuwaiti establishment have been forced out of their country, and in many ways are suffering grievously, there are indications that in some ways they are flourishing. Bert Quint has a report from London.
Because of the deals you've been doing, I now have a Saudi position.
Kuwait's troops may have been disarmed, but its financial forces are in action, buying, selling, and waging economic war. These London bankers in a Kuwaiti-owned firm are manning one front. There are other financial fronts where Kuwaitis have invested in everything from making luxury cars to rubber plantations. The Kuwaitis' big gun, despite the seizure of their country, is their big bucks. Well over $100 billion in overseas holdings.
So they could earn, say, $1 billion a month from those assets, and that's a substantial war chest that they can use to reward their friends.
The Iraqis hope to grab Kuwait's resources and in one violent stroke turn Iraq from near bankruptcy to prosperity. But the Kuwaitis moved too fast for them. The Kuwaitis set up an economy in exile in London, where they maintain control of their gold and other foreign holdings.
And I think it's a pretty unbeatable machine. I don't think you're going to see a crack in it.
Western governments are aiding in this economic war headquartered in London's financial district. While keeping Iraq's assets frozen, Western bankers have quietly worked to give Kuwait the freedom to use theirs.
Put them, you are bad!
The Kuwaitis in London are not only calling for the ouster of Saddam Hussein, they're mobilizing their worldwide financial empire. The direction comes from the always secretive Kuwaiti Investment Office here, a secrecy now paying off by keeping assets hidden from Iraq.
We are trying to survive, and we will, of course, survive.
Now Kuwait is able to care for its citizens abroad. Money flows from the embassies to the needy, and banks are permitting Kuwaitis with accounts to withdraw up to $10,000 a day. With their funds well protected and invested, many Kuwaitis find themselves among the most well-heeled refugees in history. Bert Quint, CBS News, London.
We'll continue to report on events from the scene here in the Middle East. Coming up next, Bob Schieffer in New York with the rest of the day's news.
You just couldn't resist eating the last of that crunchy, sweet crackling oat bran. How do you avoid being blamed?
Hey, Tiger.
You never saw Daddy eat the crackling oat bran.
Hiya, sweetie.
You didn't eat all the crackling oat bran, did you?
With the crunchy, sweet taste of Kellogg's crackling oat bran, an open box is an empty box.
Doctors measure back pain by how far you can bend. Extra Strength Dones is made for back pain relief with an ingredient these pain relievers don't have. Dones makes back pain go away. Extra Strength Dones, the back specialist.
It starts with itch and irritation, and then hemorrhoid flare-up. For soothing, cooling relief on contact, get Tux medicated pads. Tux pads, the one hospitals trust most.
Long after getting stitches, many kids still remember the pain. That's why 3M invented a deceptively simple alternative to stitches. Steri-Strip adhesive skin closures. Applied by doctors, they eliminate the pain of stitches and lessen the chance of infection. Thanks to 3M technology, painful stitches can be just a memory. 3M, innovation working for you.
At least one tornado and possibly more cut through residential areas of northern Illinois today, causing death, injury, and power blackouts to thousands. We have a report from James Hattori.
3 tornadoes touched down this afternoon around Joliet, Illinois, 30 miles southwest of Chicago, leaving at least 9 dead, more than 150 injured, and major property damage. One of the town's hardest hit, Plainfield, where whole neighborhoods were flattened, roofs ripped off apartment complexes.
I got in the hallway and it sounded like a train came through. I heard cupboards falling off the wall. I heard all the glass breaking.
Thank God we're okay. The house is damaged, but we're still alive.
Officials say the zone of destruction here stretches 5 miles long, 1 mile wide.
There was 2 whole blocks just totally destroyed. Garages totally disintegrated, nothing remaining.
At St. Mary's Church, grade school classes had been dismissed, but some staff members were trapped in the debris. The school principal killed.
The gym is completely destroyed. Half the school is just completely leveled. There were people in there. They found almost everybody. They found 2 people that the principal was buried. They finally have dug her up. She is dead.
At the Aurora Airport, 24 airplanes were damaged, along with several hangars. Tonight, as the storm system moves east, tens of thousands of residents remain without power, hundreds without homes at all. James Hattori, CBS News, Chicago.
This is a time of year when there is joy and expectation as students arrive on college campuses across the land. But in Gainesville, Florida tonight, the mood is one of dread. Aaron Hayes reports.
Students who just arrived to start the school year were today packing up and heading home.
I'm scared to death. I called my mom and she was crying. She said, just come home.
In 3 consecutive days, the bodies of 5 college-age victims have been discovered in a single section of this small college town. Some were found mutilated, one believed decapitated. The first 3 found over the weekend were all college co-eds. The last 2 discovered today, a young man and woman found inside an off-campus apartment complex.
There looks like that there's somebody loose out there that's not all wired together right.
Police are convinced this is the work of a serial killer, but they've been hesitant to give any details at all, only saying the killings were brutal, that some victims had to be identified from medical records, and that FBI agents have been called in to help, agents who helped investigate serial killer Ted Bundy, executed for brutally murdering 2 Florida students 10 years ago.
Those investigators have worked on the Bundy case, and we have a team out of Washington with the FBI that have worked on a number of serial killers.
I'm just really scared. This whole thing is just hitting so close to home. And it's just, I mean, it could happen to us just as easy as it happened to all these other people.
Students here are desperate to know more. They want to know how the killer works, who he might be after. They want to know if it's safe to stay. Police say they can only tell students for now to lock their doors, keep an eye on one another, and be careful. Aaron Hayes, CBS News, Gainesville, Florida.
And there was a huge upset today at the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. The top-ranked player in the world, tournament #1 seed Stefan Edberg of Sweden, was ousted in the first round by an unseeded Soviet player. It's the first time since 1971 that the top seed has lost his opening match. Well, that's our report from here. In a moment, Dan Rather will be back with more on-the-scene coverage from Baghdad.
Anything to declare?
Diarrhea.
Permit me.
Kaopectate.
But of course.
Now, advanced formula Kaopectate. Just this much relieves diarrhea and cramps fast.
Viva la Kaopectate. The diarrhea specialist.
Are your teeth sensitive? Do they hurt? Sensodyne toothpaste can help stop the domino effect that can start with sensitivity. Then pain can make you stop brushing and can lead to tooth loss. Sensodyne toothpaste helps stop the pain and the domino effect.
For all your pet means to you, shouldn't you give him and your family protection against fleas and ticks? You can with the 2-in-1 flea and tick collar from Hearts. And the Hearts 2-in-1 collar kills fleas and ticks for up to 5 months, including the ticks that carry Lyme disease. It even works when wet. So get the collar that really works, because no pet should go anywhere without the Hearts 2-in-1 collar. Protection against fleas and ticks, or your money back.
place an order?
We interrupt this order
On page 61?
for something else that delivers.
I don't like that.
The card that actually pays you cash back for every charge.
It's a gift.
The Discover card.
What'd you do for lunch? Just a little shopping.
It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
The talk of Baghdad this day has been of the expectation that there may indeed be a U.S. military strike, about the Iraqis' belief that U.S. jets are locking on to Iraqi jets along the Saudi Arabian-Iraqi border, and the death of the U.S. hostage, the Iraqis say from natural causes. Saddam Hussein with hostages of different countries, broadcast to Iraq and the world this evening. The setting for tonight's appearance with hostages was more formal, much more disciplined than the heavily criticized appearance with British hostages last week. Saddam talked about criticism of his last appearance with hostages, but seems intent on doing this sort of thing.
Some Western politicians say that the measures that Iraq have taken are inhuman. I would agree that it is an inhuman measure if we had any other alternatives through which we could prevent the scourge of war.
One Iraqi government official said, among other things, this demonstrates to America that we have a balance of terror with them.
So we shall expect that in addition to the military men who will die on their part on the front, we shall have people dying in the installations which will be attacked in their own cities, and these of course will include civilians, women, children, and people who are not in the army.
What was televised was edited. There is no way of knowing what, if anything, of substance was left out. But it provided another insight into this man who has only shown himself through these controlled appearances. And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News in Baghdad, Iraq. For the latest on the Gulf crisis, stay tuned to this CBS station. From Baghdad, good night.
Done. From the cafes of Paris comes the inspiration for a different kind of mustard, created especially for sandwiches.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon Parisian? But of course.
Grey Poupon Parisian mustard for sandwiches.
Grandma, isn't this fun?
I want my Serta.
Why do people want a Serta? The answer is the exclusive Serta Surface. It'll spoil you for sleeping any other way. So get a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
I want my Serta.
Get your Serta on sale now during the nationwide Serta truckload sale at participating retailers. But hurry, the trucks are rolling in today.
If you've been taking aspirin for years and not Tylenol, there's something you should know. You might think because you don't feel any stomach irritation, there is no stomach irritation. But the truth is, too much aspirin can be rough on your stomach, and you might not even feel it. That's a medical fact. And is it any wonder that today hospitals use Tylenol 23 times more than all aspirin brands combined? Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.